something that happens, and I think we get the same thing in class sometimes when everybody kind of tunes in together. There are nights where that, and I'm sure it affects what you're doing as a teacher.
Yeah, everybody at a similar level, then we can present better at that level and hopefully get everybody, because everyone's at a much better level, move them into a much, much better level. Yeah, it does facilitate as opposed to them being all over the board. Yeah, it's much better if they're together somehow. Yeah. I used to do a practice in San Francisco during the winter time, and I found out that if the students ran around the mat, that the building would get warm really fast. So I used it just to warm up the dojo. But I also noticed as they were running, they started to get into sync. And it wasn't a bunch of independent runners, but there was some kind of group running naturally going on. So they were settling in, kind of hitting a similar level. And how they were running, there was this blend, I don't know what word to use, but this harmony blend in their running. It was very nice. So I think we're also talking about that type of thing, a whole class at a similar level. It's fun to play with. Anyway, somebody, who we got?
Sensei, it's right. You know, you bring that up, and I actually remember that exercise in the ballroom on Oak Street when you did that. And I remember this one, I mean, you really got completely in sync as a runner going around that circle. And I remember this one day, it still stands out for me, and you just triggered the memory, was that at one point, this woman that was in the circle that was running with us just took off. She just like bolted, and it was like she was in this other altered state of consciousness that just emerged from this synchronous activity of the crowd. I mean, it was remarkable. And you know, you had to almost calm her down to get her back into sync, but it was an interesting thing that occurred. It still stands out for me 30 years later, right?
We would say probably in her settling down first phase, that being present and on her run, and because of the group run, she was affected by that it kicked her into a finer level. And that's when she was a bit different. Probably her body movement was different. Her speed was definitely different. Probably the way she flowed had a nice flavor to it, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she, what do runners call that when you go through the wall? You're sort of, when you're running, you sort of have a wall, runner's block, runner's wall.
Well, there's runner's high, but
when they break through that.
Yeah, there's a wall, but
yeah. So you break through the limitations of your 2x2 or 3x3, whatever, and suddenly, in your 3x, you were getting very tired. You didn't think you're going to be able to continue, and you break through that. It potentially naturally happens. You can facilitate it when you catch some of these tricks, but it potentially naturally happens, and you break through, and suddenly we call it dumb things like, he's got his second win. Well, he's moving from his 3x to a 4x. Of course, there's more breathing room there. So yeah, okay, second win. But more than your breathing improved, your dimensionality potentially improved. So breathing and all the other stuff goes on with it. You know, the pains you were suffering running in a 2x or whatever, when you shift to the next dimension, a lot of those are suddenly not as apparent or not debilitating. You still may be aware, but it's a whole different level of awareness. They're not pulling you down. You sort of are aware of them, but things are moving fine. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking, you know, when the guys count cadence while they march, I think that brings them into a unit, and they're able to draw on each other's strength and then feel as a unit when they go into fighting. And maybe in a similar sense, singing in church, where it's not for performing for an audience, it's to bring the group together.
Yeah. And thoughts were entering my mind earlier, and I wanted to bring in the military marching together and stuff, but I didn't know how to word it well, so I did it. So thank you. Yeah, I've always enjoyed with a group chanting where we're all in the same room. And we do simple, oh, whatever, simple stuff. But they begin to hit a level where it's a shared sound and it gets really, I don't know, beautiful. It's really quite an experience. Pretty simple. We just settle and make our sound, settle and make our sound. And before too long, boom, the sound is really in harmony. We're all experiencing it. It's a beautiful happening. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Mike from New Zealand. Yeah, I still have very strong memories of the first time that you came out and Richard was with you, and we were in the dojo or wherever it was, the place of training, in the evening, in a big circle, and you started that. And it really felt like the roof was going to come off the place. There was that much energy in the whole process. It was a very memorable experience.
Oh. Yeah. Wow.
Sensei, Bob here.
Hey, Bob.
I spent a day when I was in the Air Force with the Thunderbirds, the Air Force aerial demonstration team, and I got to sit in kind of at the beginning of their day. Not just, I didn't fly with them, but when they would stand up from their weather briefing, even before that, when they closed their little notebooks, from that moment on, they were completely in sync. Walking out the door, each foot on the ladder, climbing into the plane, so that they didn't have to wait till they were going 600 miles an hour with an 18-inch separation from the planes to get in sync, which probably wouldn't have been a very good idea.
Yeah. So they're already, what should we call that? Settling down and opening up to be at a better level before they even approached their planes. Bob, what's that called? They were doing their weather or whatever.
Yeah, they had a weather briefing so they know what the winds were like and stuff before they get in the planes.
So you see, they're already settling down and opening up during the briefing, so that when they get up, they continue, and then when they get into the plane, as Bob says, then they're ready to fly. Whatever, how many inches apart at 600 miles an hour. Whoa. Yeah. So I used to mention to students a lot, before you come to the dojo, try to start your settling down, opening up process, whatever, when you're driving to the dojo, when you're walking to the dojo, when you're in the dressing room, putting on your gi, whatever. Don't wait till you're on the mat and go, okay, what are we going to do? Because then we have to take that time there to do these earlier things, which really you should have been doing before that. Okay. No later than the dressing room. Okay. Or don't go into the meeting and Sunday, okay, now I'm at the meeting. Start to prep by settling and opening. So the one that walks into the meeting room is he, she, who attends meetings properly, fully there, fully listening, hearing, getting the flavor of stuff. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, what would you say about, in a sense, we bow when we start the class, but we bow when we step onto the mat. We actually bow when we enter the dojo. That's, I think, part of what you're talking about.
Yeah, I would just do it earlier, but yeah. Maybe the bowing is now I'm really, really here. Kind of thing. But yeah, but there should have been my apartment was just a short distance of an American block away from the dojos, just a moment to walk there. But even there was a settling down time. Yeah. Bowing, another level, boom, get into. So that when you're there, you're there. You're there at a certain level. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, okay. Let's see. What's our count so far?
We're at 28.
A little quieter tonight. Lauren's out. He's in Salt Lake City. Tej is out at some, I forgot what he's on. Diane, Florida, out. But okay, fair number. Where to start? Trading in, yeah, trading in. Trading in. Sensei said, hang on a sec. Yeah, trading in is cool, very important. If you don't trade in, it's easy to get stuck. Okay. Stuck means stuck at Bobby's level or Robert's level. It's easy to get stuck. But when you get the sense of trading in, moving along, dimension, trading in heavier inner dimension for finer being, that's very cool, very, very important. So I thought of OSensei as the great trade-in master. So if we kick into this picture here, so here he is in the green as an old man. Okay, he's referred to himself at that level, this old man. He was very, with catching on to how things work, he was able to trade in this old man to the next and the next. And so very quickly, he could go from this old man to, oh my God, what's happening here? Who is this? That speed of trading in. He said over and over, it's so easy, Nadeau, but you have to catch it. It's so easy. Okay. So I know there's a lot of trials and tribulations at first from our 1x1 space or 2x2 space. But that sense, it really potentially is very easy and very direct. So don't go anywhere. It's here. Very direct. So OSensei was the great trade-in master. Okay. These diagrams here. What's this one again? Okay, I guess we could use that. So here we are in this space to start with. Okay. And trading in to get to the next space. Okay. Now, trade-ins are not just an idea or concept. When you trade in the next level, very important that there's also an experience at that next level. That's where we bring the body in. Okay, even in finer and finer and finer, you don't have a physical body, but there is one of the earlier dimensions, an energy body. Finer and finer. We'll eventually bring up not astral bodies, archetype bodies. We'll go into archetype bodies one day as being something that is referenced at a very fine level, but also keeps this body sense going. So not physical body. At a certain point we'll bring in archetype bodies. Okay, that's for another day. So where are we here? Trading in. I'm interested. Let's see, maybe we should do one standing. Let me do one standing, something simple. Okay. Yeah, okay. Oh, let's start someplace. Let's use fair day. Okay, easy. Fair day. Fair day. Fair day. So I'm feeling myself, I'm checking myself, I'm checking my attitude, my viewpoint. Fair day, fair day. It's sort of like if you ask me how things are going, I'd say, they're okay, okay. Fair day, they're okay. Notice my breathing is fair breathing. Not bad, but it's only fair. Fair day, fair day, fair day. Fair day. I can see a certain amount I hear caught you in the kitchen. Okay, so I've noticed what my senses picked up a bit, what I saw, what I heard, what I'm feeling. Fair day. Okay. All right, we got the fair day person. Everybody got your fair day person. You can use whatever names you want, your 2x2 person, whatever. Okay, as long as we're all doing a similar thing here. Now we're going to trade in. So everything, the center in the circle, the person in their world, let's say, fair day, all of that, in, down, trading in to a finer dimension, easy, finer dimension. Okay, now I think or sense I'm at a finer dimension because I can sense more space than heretofore. I just sense more space. I sense it was a bit deeper, this underground, deeper, more space, deeper, easy. All the previous fair day, everything of the fair day guy in his fair day world, trading in. This dimensional, I don't know what to call it, world, that's too big a word, this dimensional level is something better. So I call it a good day. Easy. Don't think at first, feel. Or I'd say the body is very important. So let's call that feeling. Feeling. You're at a better level, it's bigger, more energies, nutrients, qualities available, and not as just an idea, as a mix, a blend, a harmonization, and soon, here comes a good day guy. Good day guy. Okay, good day guy, feeling himself. My breathing is definitely changing. Wants to change more, okay. I notice I'm standing stronger on a good day, straighter and a little stronger. Backup support, boom, boom, backup support I can feel. Easy. The mix, I call it, of the energies of the circle and center mixing up into this guy, good day guy. So what we did there was a trade in. I would like you, sit in dialogue in a moment, to tell me your sense of a trade in, your tricks of the trade. Anything I can help you with? Anything you can help me with? Okay? Okay. That was a simple example of a trade-in. Okay? It's important to have a sense of it in this map again. Brad, can you adjust this for me? the manifest world. We're in the manifest world, okay? Manifest world is kind of heavy. Gravity. Okay. But to learn some simple levels of trade in here are very good, because we're going to continue trading in. Eventually, we'll make a big trade in from the manifest world to, again, Sensei's words, the hidden world. I also call the domain. That's a big shift. Sensei was cool enough, sharp enough, whatever, to move into that heavenly. Is that what he calls it? Heavenly? Divine. Okay. He called divine. I think I sometimes call it heavenly, or vice versa. To move into that level and to be fully present right through all of those. That's why I emphasize this feeling, this present, not just an idea. It's going to be a problem if you just idea your way into finer and finer, that eventually you'll get spun out there. You really, for lack of words, need the grounding. I know that's a physical word, but something akin to grounding, something akin to a body that's present. It's not a physical body anymore, but something akin to it. So you retain a good set all the way through a good set. Okay, you don't shift. Okay, now I don't need to feel or sense anymore. I can just think about heavenlies or something. It's not going to work out well, people. Trust me on that. It's not going to work out well. So if we can start off better, properly. Thank you. If we can start off better, properly, that'll sustain us. That click, 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 click. That's cool. See, Sensei was fast at this. Okay. Zoom, boom. But not boom, boom. It was all here. Don't go anywhere. It's here. Well, let me think about it being here. No, it's here. Best I can do in words. I'm sorry. No words are quite going to do it. But the tricks, for lack of a word, I call them tricks of the trade, the tricks that you got even doing a simple fair day to a good day. That's what I'm asking you about. Tell me about that. What's your sense of anything there? What's cool for you there? Change of words is okay. What words would you use there? Talk to me.
Sensei, but go ahead, boy. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that for me, one of the first things that came up was the ground. It was like a base of support. And then that revealed the structure that was present and what was available there. So it kind of highlighted the body, it highlighted the presence by that, just the very nature of the ground being present, or the base there.
Yeah. We're getting a little bit better at this. So this trade in all the energies of the circle, we sometimes call it the world, the situation you're in, blah, blah, all the energies of that down. So that's being traded in. The centered previous body character, he's being traded in. Now we're sort of starting fresh. And the freshness is all the energy. Let's use potted plant. All the nutrients of the soil are here, and whatever the plant has, and both of them become one thing, a superior plant. And I'll try to say that better, maybe not tonight, but eventually. So Roy's picking it up like, oh, this ground support. And I'm just adding, saying, yes, and it's even more than that. It's all the nutrients of the circle being part of the mix of the next. Okay? Words are always a bitch, people. Let's do the best we can. Somebody, Bob, I thought I heard your voice trying to jump in.
Yes, Sensei. My experience, as you were mentioning space, I could feel more space in the body. And so there was a beginning of that transition from one type of body to another type of body. But when you feel that space in the body, it helps to keep you here and feeling, experiencing, and not awarenessing.
I find it critical. Even historically, I used to tell you on doing any practice we used to do with this, don't think about it at first, feel it, feel it, feel it. And the fuller feeling, there'll naturally be not a thinking, but an awareness, an attitude, a different viewpoint. But not to jump for that one first, because you tend to do an awareness idea first and tend to miss, don't know what word to use, its partner or the fuller of the structure. The fuller of the structure. Feeling, aware I experience, experiencing I am aware. Okay, that's very important all along the way, Okay, the words may change a bit as we get finer, but the process pattern not really changes. It's just finer and finer, more original. Okay, so these simple tricks of the trade that we practice at simple levels, Bobby to Robert, Robert to Nadeau. Don't sell those short because they're good first step preps. You won't need them forever. Some days you wake up and it's, hey, and you're at a pretty good level. Well, okay, that's your starting level then. Now let's move. But if you find yourself getting pushed in, which could happen, you kind of know what to do. You recognize it. Yeah. How do I know I'm being pushed in? Because I can't damn straighten up. How do you know you're being pushed in? Because I'm getting bitchy. Things are looking negative out there. Very obvious. And you begin to recognize the onslaught of a push in or a tightening in. I choose not to go too tight anymore. I've been there. It gets a little crazy or a lot crazy. Scary, crazy. So anytime I start to feel a compression of any form that I'm using, physical compression, mental compression, whoa, better stop and start my process because I don't want to be pushed any further tighter. It's crazy. Bobby's bad enough. Weird Bobby. I tell you, he's dangerous. He's dangerous to himself and dangerous to you. You want to go too tight. That's me. That's my style. Your type of craziness is probably a bit different. There's a lot of different type of crazies out there. You've got your own style of going crazy. But everybody pushed tight enough will get a bit weird. Okay. So you're not alone in how it works. Anyway, where the hell are we? Tricks of the trade. Your sense of trading in. Talk to me.
Sensei, it's Dusty. I'll say something. Dusty,
Hey.
What I experienced in that trade-in was like, I was glad you were talking about finer because I was doing what you called me out on last week where I was starting to grasp, like kind of out there. And then I kind of went inside, and as soon as I did that, there's almost like a dissolving, but also a grounding.
Okay, wait a sec. Okay, going inside, be careful. I'm inside your body. Careful of that, okay? I don't mean that inside. I don't mean that. Inside into a different dimensional space that shows flavors a bit bigger, a bit deeper. After a while, a bit freer, a bit airier, so to speak. Okay, so inside doesn't mean I'm inside the body. Yeah, don't screw this up, okay? Now, continue. Something more, Aaron?
No, that I like that distinction because that's been
Good.
like, well, I don't know. It's a sets phrases it in a different way, I guess. When it's not inside, I don't have to define it. I don't know. It's just helpful.
Can we say it's like a doorway into a finer space? It's just a doorway. You're not meant to get stuck in a doorway. You pass through and you're in a bigger room, a nicer room. And as we continue, even nicer in some way. Okay.
Yeah. It feels like too, there's like as I think about this, it's like a trading in with the ease of the eye. Or when you're saying easy, I had found a great place to practice being easy of the eye. I'm teaching my daughter how to drive. So being like with a teenager and driving and trying to be easy and not yell at her and calm. It's a really good practice, but there's different levels of that as I am talking now.
Yeah.
I think, maybe, I don't know.
Well, all the other words and approaches, easy the eye. Yes. Settle down, there's more room. Yes. What are some of the others we use fairly often? Letting go. Yes. Clearing. Yes. And I'm just trying out that one phrase. It's just a trade-in. Okay. See, sometimes maybe people will get a little confused. You say, well, it's important to let go of things. You gotta, if you're a Bobby, you gotta let go of Bobby and his sense of the world. Now, Bobby lets go. And all we're trying to do is get him to settle and open and move into Robert's territory. So I'm just calling that a trade-in. One thing people might screw that up with is, okay, what should I let go of now? Well, I've got an angry neighbor and I'm angry at my angry neighbor. I have to let go of that. Okay. Or, oh, wait a minute. What about the dog that barks every morning when I'm still trying to sleep? Oh, no, I've got to let go of that. What about my boss at work? What about the crazy kid in my class? You can go crazy looking for stuff to let go of. It's a spiritual masturbation. Okay. So I'm just trying to say, let's do it in fell swoop. It's a trade-in. Boom, bang. Okay. So yes, clearing is inherent in there. Letting go is inherent in there. More room is inherent in there. Just trade-in. That's what I'm sort of hoping for. And again, I'm asking you all, your sense of a trade-in. Talk to me.
It's Chip.
Chip.
I don't know about everybody else, but I need to bring.
Chip? Me either.
I need to bring my emotional body to the ground, like what Roy was talking about. The ground is there. Bring the emotional body, the feeling body to that in a sense of surrender.
Yeah.
And what happens after that? Who knows? Open to that possibility.
Yeah. Okay, hold it there a sec. Yeah, that's cool. Emotional body. But don't take that body into it. You're carrying something heavy, maybe, okay? Or I'm talking to other people. Don't carry that distinctly. If you carry Bobby into Robert's territory, it's hard to be a Robert because you're got Bobby. You carried Bobby into this. I've told you this many times using a great phrasing of mine. You've heard it before. You can't get pregnant if you're pregnant. This is what I meant. You can't carry this heaviness into something finer and really be the totality of that level of finer when you're carrying something to, and your sense of it is that it's still here because you carried it with you. So that's what I'm not sure if I heard you right, but talking to everybody.
An exchange of what is known and held on to something that is unknown. And
Yes, that's where you got to be a little bit gutsy, people, because a lot of people won't even make that first step. They won't let go of what they know for what they don't know. And we'll get into the dark aspect of it, not tonight, but I want to, maybe next week. Okay, where am I going? See, this is where it gets hard for people who are better than the average, let's say. Okay. You ask them to trade in, and they're letting go of what they got. They're letting go of their identity there, but I'm superior. And I'm asking them to trade it in. Trade it in. Boom. And see who you are at this next level. Okay. A lot of people panic along the way because they sort of lose their first identity, maybe in this time. But there's a sense of, I'm losing myself. It's scarier than hell, unless you understand the trick of it. That's just Bobby. But fine, I'm trading Bobby in. Of course, Bobby's going to bitch for a moment. Of course. But suddenly here's Robert, and Robert takes over. Hey. Okay. And I don't know if I was ever that happy with Bobby anyway, but some people are happy with their superior selves. I'm better than everybody else in a neighborhood. You want me to trade that in? But if I do that, maybe I won't be better than everybody else. Maybe I'll come up worse. Just a misunderstanding. It doesn't work that way. It's finer to finer to finer to more original, inferring finer and finer. That's how it works, the dimensionality game. But that's why you have to sort of practice a bit to be very clear. Oh, it just doesn't get worse. Just another level of finer, and lo and behold, it's still me, but a me I never recognized before. Okay. Once I caught that, and that was fairly early in my meditation time. But I see what I catch. Hang on, I lost the thought. Oh, once I got clear to me through the experience of doing stuff like this, I realized if I had an identity, okay, right now I'm a Robert or something, but I knew it was temporary after having done this for a bit. It's like, well, I need a name for the day. So, hello, my name is Robert. But I knew that was a transition, that I really didn't know who I was. I was very interested. Well, who am I really? Boom, boom, boom. And some of the things were sometimes startling. It's like, whoa, really? Okay. But then things began to happen to give me feedback, you know, whatever. I'd be invited to give a talk someplace. Me? But they were reacting to this guy. They were inviting this guy. Am I saying any of this properly? Yeah. So we try to go over in these sessions the misunderstandings. Like this one we're talking about is a very critical one. And sometimes you're going to be, if you continue this work, you're going to be at a pretty fancy level. The sense of self and this finer dimensions you're in gets pretty fancy. And you go, whoa, me, whoa, I'm spiritual, I'm special. I sense this and that. You know what? Good. Now trade it in. And a lot of people can't do it. Okay. They got too much going for them. They're noted as being superior. You think they're going to let that go? Some will. Many, unfortunately, don't. Okay. Yeah. So you have to have some kind of calling to continue, because if you don't have some calling, you're going to stop short and be satisfied. Oh, I feel better. My life is better. Leave me alone, Sensei. Don't bother me anymore. I'm happy. You tell me that clearly, and I'll leave you alone. Oh, I may try to whatever, but stop me. Leave me alone, Sensei. Because you're happy. It's sufficient. Okay. But don't come to my advanced class. Because we're going to move on and on. Okay. Something like that.
Like you say, Sensei, there's that and then
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
coming those dimensions.
Hmm.
Thank you, Sensei.
Now, in the manifest, it gets finer and finer and finer and finer and finer, ever so long. I'm not asking you to go into a 3x3, 4x4, 5x5, 6x6, 7x7, and tell you, by the way, there's 8,000 of those. You go, well, screw this. I'm exhausted here. Okay. What happens is once you get a bit of flavor how things work, using my counting, a 1x can't pull it off very well. 2x, not really. 3x, there's a hint of, oh, boom. 4x should be so. 4x should be so. Where you get where self begins to show it's there. You got a sense of how it works, thicker to finer, of that these dimensional walls aren't really so thick. You sense through them very quickly. They're almost nothing. They're paper. I call them paper walls, and even that's too heavy. But they're not brick cement. Once you get a sense experiential, not just, oh yeah, okay, I believe that. Won't quite do it because we want a full passage, a full through this. And fullness includes what we call body or experience, the experience. Now you'll trick me. Oh, I'm thinking about experience. I understand experience, and you're damn well not experiencing. That's why I like to really feel the body, keep me honest. And when I start off doing that, then I can continue with that sense of the fullness to fullness to fullness. Okay. Oh, I got lost there. Chip, bring me back on course. Where are we here?
That's good. The piece that came up for me is, and it reflects through the body. And that's how I would prefer to see it and not try to own it through those dimensions, but just let it express through the body. Kind of be a witness to it.
And then later, just a sense experience, not just sense, a sense experience of that presence that Chip is talking about. Yeah. Sometimes in the mat, on the mat, I sometimes stand that way at a certain level. And you've come at me before, so you kind of know sometimes I'm standing there and the flavor's different. That you're even wondering why you're coming in, maybe. You already feel caught up or something, something like that. Yeah. That's what you're talking about, that level of inner sensing, experiencing, and it, I don't know, radiates out to where even Chip over there can go, oh, I ain't coming in on him now or something. Yeah. Yeah, just it's there. Yeah. Thank you. Somebody, where are we? What's for you the tricks of the trade of a trade-in?
Hi, Sensei. It's Mark here.
Wait, Mark.
Yeah. When going through that trade in there seems to be for me a moment of almost nothingness.
Yes.
There's I can't. It's not like a long moment, but just for a moment there, nothingness, nothing. Yeah. I would just wonder if you could talk about that a little.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Even on our simple ones, moving from a 1x to to a 2x or a 2x to a 3x, I think we're doing fair to good. Yeah. On that first trade in, it's not clear yet. Easy, it's not clear yet. So could look very empty or a sense of nothing. Okay. Now, some spiritual types are looking for this sort of quiet empty, and they think that's the goal. Sorry. Yes, that's a nice, clear, open space. What's going on in this space, and who am I in this space? They sometimes stop short with, oh, it's so quiet. It's so nothing. I've arrived. Okay. It's the something before the active something. That's not right the words, but it's there. And then there's the actual activity presence of creation at that level going on. Oh, the damn words. But anyway, yeah. My early sense of the empty was something like when I called it dark. It looked dark to me in those days. When I saw dark, it didn't mean there wasn't anything there. I had the sense that there's something there, but I can't see it yet. But dark didn't say nothing. It was me. Oh, it looks kind of dark. And I didn't have the ability then to know the trick of utilizing that and going deeper to a finer dimension. I didn't know that trick at the time. But I knew that it's not dark, 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 empty, nothing. It's I can't see or experience. I'd say, no, I can't see, experience what's going on. So that dark was I don't know what to call it, transition into the next level. And if I couldn't experientially pass through to the next level, I would just see the dark and again, look empty, looks like nothing. For some people, well, we'll get into dark, I think, next week. It's a part of this. Get scared by it. Okay. If it's dark, it's got to be the devil because God is white light. And it's really screwed things up. It's sad. But we'll cover dark because it's very important. And we'll come up in very advanced levels there to where it's very important. Anyway, we'll hold that off till next week.
Bob, if I might, just in response to Mark's question of that kit, there was a great way you used to talk about it, that you've got to put down the quart to pick up the half gallon. But for a lot of people, they put down the quart and then there's nothing in their hand and they grab the quart again.
Oh, yeah. No, that's one thing that'll happen. A person is, let's say, Robert or whatever. Okay. And he hears he can maybe be a better person or something. And he tries the process. Holy shit, it's dark or it's empty or whatever. Oh, shit. He comes back to Robert. Sure as shit. But it'd be a Robert who's alive and whatever, then it'd be in this no man's land or no person land. Yeah. No, folks can scare easy. That's again why I sort of like doing these sessions to explain some of these things that are just misunderstandings, you know, and the dark is a big one. So it'll be worth our time to go over it more clearly next week. I'm waiting for Tej on this one because I also want the Oriental view of the dark times, and we'll pick up the Western style from Bob Noah. And I want to have both those guys come in on that. But next week. So we're saying on a trade-in, yes, you could have a sense of empty. Yes, there could be something of dark. We'll clarify that and how to utilize that next week. So yes, is that good enough for Mark? Mark, is that good enough?
Yeah.
somebody trading. What's your sense? How you doing?
This is
That
Nancy.
you know in? Who's that?
This is Nancy speaking.
Hey, Nancy.
Well, when you're talking about a fair day, I mean, I actually did have a fair day, but I was really glad to let it go. I mean, it wasn't that great. I mean, it wasn't that fair. So the idea of letting it go and trading up, it was really kind of an exciting idea. So it felt like I was dropping some clothing, you know, like I was just dropping one costume and, you know, just going into a whole nother unknown place. And I got very full and heavy and my spine kind of opened up and softened, which was, it was just very full, very rather physical, but very nice.
And again, what we said earlier, somebody else, careful of holding the body. It's okay to be aware of those things going on in the background, could we say? Oh, the spine is changing. But don't hang on to it, because you may try to carry that heavier into something, and you can move along better than that. You don't have to take this body and have it a little bit better. That's kindergarten for you. Knock it off. If I heard what you're saying, yeah.
Well, it was interesting. It went physical. I didn't know where it was going to go. It went physical, but that's a good admonition to like let it keep opening past that too.
Yeah. But I do note those things, you know. But I don't hang on to them and carry them heavy into this. I don't want to carry, I don't know how to say it, carry heavy stuff into a finer, because the finer grouping can't show. But I'm aware it's along the way what might be going on in the system. Not that I major in it, whatever, but I can just catch it.
Thank you.
And again, people, the words are a bitch. We'll try to, trying to have you speak my language, but you're free to change the words. Okay? Because if you're there at that level, I'll understand probably how you're using that word there. So I use, for example, is Catherine on tonight? Anyway, a few weeks ago or something, she said something about settling and dialoguing with other entities. Well, very clear to me, she was talking to what I call selves or soul selves or whatever. Oh, she calls them entities. Okay, got no problem. No problem. Okay. If somebody says, gee, it feels like an empty space. Okay, I have a sense of where you're at with that. Somebody says, it looks vacant. Oh, I have a sense of where you're at. Somebody said, there's nothing going on. Oh, I have a sense of where you're at. Come on, people. Whatever words you like, but don't get locked in on them. Gee, it looks vacant to me, but Sensei said empty. Come on. Don't hang on to those words. Okay. Try my words. If they're not conducive, what are your words? In fact, I'm asking you that tonight. I call it a trade-in. Is there any sense of it that you have? I want to hear about it. Okay. Did I say that okay? Was I almost polite in saying that?
Very polite.
Oh, good. Such a rarity.
It was quite good, Sensei. And I'm a bit disappointed because I've been hanging out to do the glass of milk and the jug as one of the best examples that you did it years ago that I have for that trade-in process, because it is so simple and so clear. And the idea of having to actually let go of, stop grasping what you've got and then be in a space which is just, well, apparently empty, but being able to move to the jug and get hold of that new handle.
Yeah, give it time. The words that come up there, somebody's come from OSensei, easy there, easy. I might add things like, let it unfold. It will unfold. If you're easy, it'll clarify itself. Easy. Okay. So, for example, when I move into, if we're doing a 2x, 3x, 4x game, I move into next, and I don't know what word I'd use. It's empty, nothing's going on. Easy. Let it unfold. And then suddenly I get a sense of some movement in a circular form. Not clear, but I can feel something moving. Okay, easy, let it unfold. And then there's a sense of a circular structure, much clearer. Easy, let it unfold. And then the center starts to kick in. Circle, boom, boom, center. It just unfolds, and there it is. Now, let it easy, let it unfold. We could add, don't panic, don't freak out. Don't run away too fast. Easy, let it unfold. Yeah.
I think the word patience that comes to my mind for that time in between.
Yeah.
That we need to learn to be able to trust.
Yeah.
And there's a patience aspect to that.
Yeah. Especially in the area of experience. Yeah. Be patient, because at first it's a bit slower, much easier to think about something. Your thought pattern can be instant, right? Thoughts are fast. The experience, especially at first, could be a little slower. Yeah. But it'll build up. It will, whoa, yes. You'll experience the experience. So you don't mind if earlier it was a little slower and it was easier to think than to feel, because you're fast with your thoughts. And you're like a little kid in school whose hand goes up first because you want to be first. Not now, not now. Not in this practice. Feel, be patient, easy, let it unfold. It will, if you're present and allowing it. Yeah. Best I can do in words. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, the other thing I just wanted to say, just following on from the exercise you did, was that, and this was a noticing. You were using the expression, I know, I note things sometimes. That standing there in that manifest space, that first space, and just experiencing it, and then just noticing that my belly just released. It wasn't a melt; it was almost an instant tension that I didn't realize I was carrying. Just let go and just kind of flowed down my legs into the floor. Again, not something to stay hooked on, but it's interesting, and just keep the process going.
But I used to need early days as a relaxation practice and whatever else I was doing. I would lay down on the ground and practice releasing, and say, okay, what's my tight part of my body? It felt like my shoulders were up. Okay, release that. Okay, next, what other part of the body is up a bit? Oh, my knees. Okay, relax, let go there. They'd relax. Okay. Until I could feel that my whole body was flat, and even better, was beginning to melt into the floor sensation. Yeah. But I used to play with releasing in that. So a nice relaxation practice, a nice physical practice. You don't have to do that, as a before of doing the faster potential work here. But hey, we got a physical body. Might be nice to learn a couple of relaxation practices. If that one helps you, fine. No big deal. Yeah. But don't make it.
I didn't do anything. I was not focusing on that at all. I was just experiencing, and it happened, but it was just quite a significant physical experience that I noted.
Yeah. And I was just saying, you wanted to come back and sort of study physical systems and how they relax. That was just a dumb example.
Thank you.
Feminine voice, somebody? Who that? Hello. Somebody started to talk, no? I misheard. Okay. All right, we got a few more minutes here if you like. Trading in. Tricks of the trade from your end, your sense from your end, trading in. Anything?
Sensei Bob here.
Hey, Bob.
I remember you picked up something very interesting in one of the earliest martial art books that came out in English.
Which, I'm sorry,
The
which
earliest martial art books that came out in English. It was by Masoyama.
Oh, yeah.
Old timers might recognize the name, but he was one of the most prominent martial artists probably in the world in his time. And he wrote a book, and his style of training was very, very hard. Very, very hard. And at the end of the book, he said he did an experiment where he took a new student and trained him in his extremely hard approach to training. And another one, what from his perspective was a softer approach with some meditation and more emphasis on forms and things like that.
Speed.
Yeah, and at the end of the 6-month trial,
Yeah, listen, speed.
right,
Okay.
he compared the two, and in almost every respect, the student that he did what for him was the softer style of training was far superior.
Yeah.
And then what you said was you looked back at the 200 pages of the book before that, and it was all the hard style training, which in his own book he said didn't work as well. And to me, as a very prominent martial artist of his day, what you said about that, which rings true even more now with this practice, is he couldn't trade it in. Even though he proved to himself that it was better, he could not trade it in.
It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. For some people, it's hard. That's why we try to find easier explanations, try to clarify things. So trading in is not hard. So that was a good example Bob was using. Here's a guy that liked his hard style, did hard style for years, but realized with this test, with the heavy students and the lighter, faster students, that, oh my God, the lighter, faster ones are better. They even hit harder than the heavy guys were hitting. Okay, stuff like that. But as Bob said, couldn't let go of that teaching style because that was his major. Yeah. Hard to let go for some people. Impossible for some people. Let's not be one of those people. Okay. Yeah. Again, I think a lot of this is based on this inner self calling. And we can't say one self and then suddenly, oh, yeah, I'm the most original self. So far, my experience, I'm doing a lot of work with Susan in dialogue with other selves, is there's also a range there. Some are like newbies, and some aren't the most advanced, could I say? So you have to instruct them a little bit on things. Help them to develop themselves as self, okay? Where are we going? Am I saying this right? Oh, the calling of self. So that's why it's important in our settling with a sense of self, because as we highlight, I don't know what to say, call self, surface. I know you're here. Show yourself, whatever. Be here. Bear with me. That the more knowledgeable whatever self is, I mean, it's your self. It knows who you are. It knows your what you're trying to accomplish. It will, aligning properly, assist you. Okay. And some people have a stronger calling from the self. Okay. Where, okay, using me as an example, I can't not do this work because I know if I did, I'd probably eventually become a drunk and what? I go a little crazy, drunk, but I start to get a little more head towards a little type of craziness. Okay. My calling for doing this work is very strong. Is that a self-presence calling? OSensei, in a certain way, couldn't not do what he was doing. In fact, with such a strong calling, he said he was always under pressure. A lot of people don't know that, but he was under pressure a lot because you're more than that, Ueshiba. Move along. Come on, you're more than that. Come on, you're more than that. This is a very strong self-call. Okay. So if we can, I don't know, activate the self, help square away so the self that's here can begin to show more and more, then it will help you to move through things and you'll get a fuller experience. Better the self, better the character, better your presence, centered and circled, circled and centered, whatever form you want to use for reference. So self is a very important piece, okay? And again, at a certain level where it should begin to show, I think we've tried on the Friday nights, see if a one-by-one guy says self, he means, who do you mean, me, Bobby? The word doesn't really mean anything to a heavy guy like that. Settle, do our basics with a sense that such a thing exists. Someplace here, there is a self. Okay, I settle, open, easy, move into a finer dimension. And here in the finer dimension, yes, energies and makes and the character being bred, born, whatever. Yes, but also in this finer space, there is a self that's here. So an important piece, okay. Let's see. Anyway, if you've been hanging out with me for a couple of years, plus the 20, 30, 40 years before that, there must be some kind of calling we could sort of trust, or you would have given up on me long ago. Okay. Meaning you didn't want to go more with the form I was going more. Fine. If you continued in some other format, as long as you're continuing. Okay. Yeah. But I would surmise there's some kind of calling that you're still hanging out. Okay. I'm finishing up here, but somebody something before we finish?
Sensei, one thing that stands out for me is in what you've said is that it almost sounds like you could describe it as like a forming, like this being is forming and that there's this natural energy or movement that actually forms this self, that it's a real creative process.
Okay. If I heard you, okay. So the most original self is most original. We're not limited selves. And we have to, and maybe I missaid it before, and we kind of have to help some people to realize they are more. But see, they are more. They just were a little stunted along the way or something. How to say this? In a certain way, self doesn't have to develop itself. Self has to become aware of itself and aware of the more of itself and aware of the more original of itself. Again, the self is like this, the full page of paper. It's there, but you're here. The paper ain't got no problem, but you're not the paper. You got a touch, and you'll always have a touch. Okay, a saving factor. So it's just a realization that there is in a finer self should show here. And then if we use this one, when you get a sense of the manifests, pretty good self there. Okay.
Bob?
And as it
I'm sorry.
continues, it's a self here. Oh, Sensei went full bore. Whole damn thing. Did I say that right? Is that okay? So if I say, you know, develop the self, I sort of am not saying its potential isn't full. But there are some developments because we got caught up in this vortex of tighter and tighter and tighter. And so the self is very tight in there. Okay, and because it's heavy, it's sort of shrouded over by the heaviness. That's why one by one guy, a weird Bobby, you ask him about self, he doesn't know what you're talking about. He doesn't give a shit, so to speak. Easy, easy, easy. So it's there. Just have to easy, clear, let go, whatever. So that's there can begin to show. Okay. Something like that. So the words, bitch, the best we can. Are you sort of okay, right?
Yeah, we'll talk on the phone. I want to
Yes.
pursue this a little further. I've got some other thoughts.
There
about
goes
it.
my Sunday. Shut the hell.
But it's getting late. Thank you, Sensei. It's almost 8 o'clock. I don't know if anybody's got any last thing. Otherwise, I guess we'll cut it off here.
Things before Roy cuts us off. Okay. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you got something. Yeah, I'm thinking the dark, because it's really big time. It's really important. There are certain stages in this movement where it's big time and important. We'll talk about that next week.
Thank you, Sensei.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
Thanks for hanging out, people.
Thanks,
Thank
Bob.
you, Bob.
Say,
Oh, have a good night.
Thank you, Sensei.
Thank you.
Thank you, Roy.